Now, you may have read newspaper articles about a new controversy in the field of fertility treatment. An organisation called Altrui, a kind of dating agency putting the infertile and potential egg donors in touch, has been found to be sending leaflets to young students at Cambridge University asking them to consider donating eggs. The company gets £1,300 from a couple looking for a donor. Any young woman offering her services will get the amount recommended by the Human Embryology and Fertilisation Authority for expenses, £750 paid by the couple. So how much is this an exploitation of the vulnerable, generally poor young student? Well, Deborah is a professional woman in her late 20s who donated eggs earlier this year. Dr. Marie Wren is Deputy Medical Director at the Lister Fertility Clinic in London, and Alison Bagshaw is the founder of Altrui. Alison, why did you trawl for donors among young Cambridge students?
Good morning. Well, first of all, we actually help couples find a donor. It's the only opportunity they have, really, of trying to get somebody in the UK who isn't a friend or a family member. So one of the ways that we do this is to help them put together an advertisement and talk with them about where they actually want to place that. It might be in a magazine, it might be in a local paper, but in this particular case it was one couple who'd been through Cambridge who actually wanted someone that they felt they could relate to. So it was them that put the advertisement out at Cambridge, having sought permission from the university, and it was actually put into mature student and postgraduate pigeonholes. So as such, it was the client who actually did this, but of course we sanctioned it.
But how comfortable were you with asking students to donate?
I actually don't have a problem with it, because for a donor to go through a donation cycle, they have to go through so many gateways. Students are not actually just going to say, yes, I'm going to be a donor, and then donate next week. This is a long, lengthy process that they are counselled, they are talked through the whole thing. It's really unusual for an 18-year-old to even get through those portals. She needs to be incredibly mature if she's going to do this, have quite a bit of life experience. But actually, universities are populated with mature students. There are a number of people out there. So I think what we need to look at is the individual donor and her capacity to understand the implications rather than put an age on it.
Now, Deborah, you are mature and wise. Why did you do it?
So about 18 months ago, I'd seen some adverts saying that they were low on egg donors. And then that time kind of quickly goes and you think, I'm going to apply, I'm going to look into it. And then eventually just before Christmas, I thought, right, enough's enough. I'd heard another advert about it, so I applied. It was nothing to do with financial. It was literally just, okay, yeah, this is something I lose every month.
£750 isn't a lot to a professional woman who's earning. It might be quite a lot to a student.
Yeah, well, I never had a figure put to it at all. So Alison was very clear. When I went on, when I Googled it and looked into it some more, she said about the financial implications that it would just be that they would cover my expenses. But I never did it for this reason, so it wasn't a factor for me.
Marie, how comfortable are you with asking students to donate?
I think it is reasonable to ask the population to consider donation, because there is a need for donors in this country. A lot of patients go abroad because there is a surfeit of women that need help and a paucity of suitable donors. So I don't have problems asking anyone to consider this. I would feel very uncomfortable to think that anyone would consider doing this purely for financial reasons. And although £750 is not an inconsiderable amount of money, I don't think it is enough money that it would ever induce anyone to do something that they wouldn't feel comfortable about. And essentially donors do exactly what women who are doing IVF are doing, up to the point of having their eggs harvested. And certainly at our clinic, we would go through what the treatment would involve in exactly the same kind of detail. We would give patients a lot of literature to read about. We would organise extensive counselling of these patients so they completely understood what they were going to consider doing.
The money, Alison, inevitably inevitably becomes the question that's raised over this. And my understanding is that you're charging the couple more than £1,000. The donor, as we've heard, only gets expenses, and that comes from the couple. How do you justify profiting from such a practice? My understanding was that in your case, it comes from the couple, the £750.
Yes, the £750 is compensation allowed by put down by the government. It's given. I mean, it's the couple have to pay that to the donor to cover her travel, to cover loss of earnings, to cover childcare. Actually,
but you are charging the couple more than £1,000. That is correct, isn't it?
Yes, completely.
How do you justify profiting from this?
Well, first of all, it's not profiting. I mean, what I need to point out is that for us to actually get donors in, it's really hard getting donors in. We put a huge amount of money into advertising in our own right. It takes quite a bit to take a donor from the starting point of an interest about being a donor right the way through to actually putting them through a clinic. And then, more importantly than ever, that's when we actually start working with the donor, and Debs will support that. We actually give them a huge amount of support going through treatment and out the other side. So all this actually, 1,300 barely covers it. And to be honest, at the end of the day, the couple get one altruistic donor who is donating to them alone. The chances of them actually getting a pregnancy from this is really, really high, and the possibility of embryos to use in the future for another child or another go if it doesn't work.
What did you have to go through, Deborah, to actually do the donation physically?
Okay. So I have to. So first of all, I had an appointment at the clinic. That was a couple of hours long. Again, we sat through counselling. I met some nurses. So there was lots of scans. I had to be scanned quite regularly. I had to inject hormones, and I had to sniff hormones, and that was every day for about 3 weeks,
and
up to the end.
How painful and uncomfortable?
Oh, it was fine. It really was fine, Jenny. I really thought. I've said to Marie and Alison that I thought it was going to be. It was absolutely fine. The injection was difficult, but because I've never had to inject myself before, so that took a couple of nights of learning how to do that, but it was fine.
What are, Marie, the short-term risks? What can go wrong when this is being done?
There is the hypothetical risk for any woman having her eggs harvested that there could be an infection, or there could be some immediate bleeding caused by the needle that punctures the woman's vagina to go into the ovary. In reality, this is considered a minor procedure. Most patients are day cases. They're coming in the morning, going home a few hours later. So in a very long history of looking after patients, I've probably only seen a handful of patients who've had serious complications. Obviously, egg collections are performed by people who are very well trained. It's not a procedure done by a junior hospital doctor, and so in reality very few patients have risks, but the two potential risks immediately might be infection, although patients are obviously given appropriate antibiotics, and bleeding.
And if the ovaries are overstimulated?
I think overstimulation is a problem that we rarely see, because I think nowadays we have a much greater understanding of who is at risk. There are blood tests that we do now. Anti-Müllerian hormone is seen as a very good way of identifying which women may have that potential to over-respond. And so not just for donors, but for all patients, we can try and individualise the drug treatment that we give, to give the lowest dose to get a safe reaction for all women going through fertility treatment.
What about the potential for long-term harm? There are some people who are worried about the possibility of ovarian cancer later in life.
And I have discussed this extensively with oncology colleagues, and there does not appear to be any direct effect from taking fertility drugs for IVF or for egg donation and egg collection. And at the end of the day, there are going to be some women who fall into both camps. They're going to maybe have a family history of cancer, and obviously these wouldn't be patients that we would accept as a donor. But there doesn't appear to be any increase in the incidence of cancer in the last 25 years, and yet during that time there has been a massive increase in the number of patients having egg collection. So I think the donors fall into the same risk category as women are having IVF, and we haven't seen that increased risk of cancer.
But Alison, how content are you, given that there are health risks, of encouraging a young woman who has never had children herself to go through what is, after all, an invasive procedure?
Well, it's actually fairly straightforward. I've worked in fertility for 20 years. I haven't actually experienced people who have had severe complications from this. It's really a very straightforward procedure, as both Mary and Debs have said. And I think that they need to, I would never encourage somebody, never pressure somebody to do it if they didn't want to. But there are some women out there who just want to help. And I think if that's what they want to do, and they're fully aware, they're fully counselled of what this means and the implications, then I think that's just fantastic. These women are just incredibly kind. They are so nice. And, you know, some people just don't want children yet. It doesn't, as I understand it, affect their fertility. It's the most amazing thing they can do.
Marie, the news came out yesterday that NICE have decided to approve IVF being offered on the National Health for women up to the age of 42. Mm-hmm. Given your experience, how likely is that to be widely successful in that age group?
We all know that one of the major factors that affects the chances of success of any fertility treatment is the age of the woman. Clearly, one is likely to have a better success rate if one was only treating younger women. But the reality of the situation in this country is that a lot of women haven't met the right partner, haven't considered having fertility treatment. So I don't think that the success rates should govern whether or not you offer patients treatment. If these women need treatment, then they should be considered eligible for treatment, even if the success rates are lower. But they are better now than they were 20 years ago.
Dr. Marie Wren, Alison Bagshaw and Deborah, thank you all very much indeed.